members of our community. I need not tell you that poverty in America is really rough right now. And I think it's warping a lot of our larger politics, this incredible level of inequality. And in Josephine, I think that there has been just incredible work to show up for the most vulnerable members of the community. And I got to see and really admire the work of Jimmy Evans and others in the Illinois Valley related to homelessness, and there are many people in this room who work on that issue in this part of the county. And here I have one more thing I want to read from the book. This is from the Illinois Valley, but this is a sort of a rumination from another incredible leader in your midst, who I hope many of you know, Gina Angelique. Yay. Well, I'll just jump in. But to me, this is this deeper rumination on showing up for the vulnerability in our community. Gina Angelique founded a performing arts and dance program in the Illinois Valley called River Stars, one of the only extracurricular after-school activities for kids in the district. Just have to pause and have a moment of silence for the sadness that I experienced in finding that fact out. That is terrible. I mean, her program is amazing, but that's a shameful fact that it's one of the only extracurricular activities in the district. Kate tried to work on that in the Three Rivers School District, and there's other efforts. But anyway, it shouldn't be that way. A while back, Angelique complained to her mother, who lives in San Diego, about how hard it was to operate and fundraise in Josephine, where there's so little money to support the schools or youth. Most of the year, Angelique is only able to offer classes a few days a week. She and her fellow dance teachers collect part-time paychecks. Her mother sympathized, saying, "They don't deserve you." Angelique thought of the kids she teaches. Many have parents who work as marijuana trimmers with incomes that have gone from low to unlivable in recent years. She knows the degree of drug use in many of their homes and the more serious harms besides. Many kids here have watched their parents fight with knives, commit suicide, or even found their bodies hanging, she told me. One girl in Angelique's class broke into tears when Gina asked the kids to spread their legs during a stretch. Angelique knows 7th graders who can barely read, and she grieves the breakdown in critical thinking and open dialogue on hard topics. Her mother's comment about what the county deserves struck something so deep in me, she said. Okay, I thought, I am never leaving. She and others have ambitions for how the region can improve while still giving people a way to live self-sufficiently on their own land. I feel connected to how great this place could be, she said. And I feel like that's what I hear in this room, what I hear from these projects, what I hear from Brenda and Steve and others, is feeling connected to how great this place could be. So you have very special people here. I like to think every American community has lots of really special unsung heroes in it. But you have your share. And I have to say, just on a personal level, that there are so many people in this room who, I probably should have written about in some ways, and there's a lot of guilt associated with picking a path through a story and naming some people and not others, because as the book emphasizes really a zillion times, this is not a story of, individual heroes who put on red capes and save the day. I just don't think that these problems go away with individual acts of heroism like that. These are stories of networks, but they're stories of people who really become leaders in those networks and who grow that community of people who care and who serve. So I have so much admiration for the folks here. I want to do one last thing, which is really just to, I have a couple of images. I want to do one last kind of reflection, which is honestly to just go toward the thing that was most scary to me about this book being released in the 4 places, which is that they're all really different from each other. And the truth is that I was really nervous in Josephine that people would be angry to be in a book with Detroit, Michigan, Stockton, California, and Lawrence, Massachusetts. We've got big city Detroit, mostly African American, very democratic. Little city Lawrence, Massachusetts, nicknamed the immigrant city now in its past, now nicknamed the Latino city, also mostly blue politics. And Stockton, a city with purple politics in a rural region, but still a 320,000 person city, and the most racially diverse city in the United States, which is incredible. And so there are really deep racial and political differences among these four places. But I put them together on purpose, and I want to own that here, and also to just to notice out loud and to share with you that all four of these places are trash-talked in lots of unfair ways. They all have very concentrated poverty, tremendous struggle in their finances. They're, broke at various periods of time, and heavily stigmatized. And all four of them feel a tremendous amount of antagonism with their states and with the power structure in their larger state politics. So I want to try, see if you can tell me after if I succeed, to create a little bit of kinship with them, maybe even a little glimmer of solidarity with these places that you might think of as really different, that I think actually share a lot of Josephine's most beautiful core values. And I'm going to use just 4 quick images from these places and just narrate the story. This is a little arrangement of the 4. We're not going to stop with this slide. This is Lawrence on top, Detroit, Stockton, an inland port, giant California inland port, and then, of course, your very own. And I'm going to start with this photograph that comes from Detroit, which I've come to really love and celebrate. I fell in love with all 4 of these places, and in Detroit in particular, the kind of grit and resilience in the city is a sight to behold. It has been through so much. And this image to me really captures that. This is a photograph that I just snapped with my iPhone a few days. This is a few days after a fire, a suspicious fire, but Detroit doesn't have the arson investigators to find out the difference between an arson and a natural fire, so people will never know. But this was a home that was owned by the Heidelberg Project, this group of incredible artists in an extremely poor neighborhood in the city. And they really, for years, had been really trying to defy the level of poverty and the sort of depopulation in the neighborhood with polka dots all over buildings and colorful things and salvaged art objects. And they'd done it around the neighborhood for a long time. And this is one of their homes that was burned down. And I took this picture a couple of days after this fire. This is the charred foundation of one of the buildings that had just been lost. And instead of being angry or kind of lashing out, they set up a stuffed animal dinner party, which I think so captures the kind of family and the very strong community networks, the church networks, and the sort of fierce refusal to give up in this incredible American city. Again, a reminder of some of that same spirit here. This image comes from a bathroom in Lawrence, Massachusetts. Lawrence is has really tight community networks of interdependence. This is a town where most of the workforce is working in the gig economy. People are putting together 2, 3, 4 jobs as nannies and Uber Eats drivers and janitors and putting together all these jobs, working extremely long hours. And in the women's bathroom, in a really amazing community cafe downtown, one of these precious businesses that has survived Lawrence's hardships and poverty, somebody wrote on the wall, "Mija, you've got this." And I loved that message. here you are. This is one of my favorite images from Josephine County, giving your library a hug. How amazing is that? Brilliant. The creativity, the spunk, the, refusal to go down without a even more spunky fight the next time. And then last, this image from Stockton. This was a photography project by an amazing photographer named Whitney Ramirez, who through the YMCA, when Stockton was going through its bankruptcy and really was just pathologized all over California. Stockton is almost a, it was just put down and insulted constantly in the media and in larger California culture related to gun violence and poverty and the bankruptcy itself. And so this brilliant photographer invited people to write messages to Stockton on their body. Dear Stockton, fill in the blank. And they wrote them in various configurations on their hands and arms. And this man, I do not know who he is, I wish I knew, wrote on his hands, Dear Stockton, I won't give up on you ever. And to me, that is the magnificent determination reflected in Gina's comments and in all of the volunteerism that fuels this larger community here. I want to end with one very final comment, because a dear friend said that this book made him feel patriotic, and that's how you all made me feel. Detroit, Lawrence, and Stockton did too. This, to me, is the American experiment, and it was an incredible window into how we make that democracy thing work, even when it gets hard. And because I know it sometimes gets hard, I want to leave you with one parting thought, also from Stockton, from an incredible pastor named Curtis Smith, who ran candlelit night walks in the community during a period of peak gun violence in order to mourn the losses, help people feel safe in the community, and really build a larger social movement of progress. And so Curtis Smith, a pastor in Stockton, put it this way as we discussed his candlelit walks at night to interrupt a period of peak gun violence. In this season of austerity, he told me, we have to hold each other up. We have to ask, what will this city look like if? We have to be that voice of hope. We cannot believe the narrative that has been written about us. We have to face the facts, but also faith the facts. So with Curtis's parting words, I thank you for your work and your example.
Thank you so much, Michelle. It was such an honor to work with you, and I appreciate so much that you selected Josephine County and that you came and you learned about us and that you really saw us. I'd like to bring Greg and Sue up, please. I think Greg has that on his list, Michelle, at the library tomorrow. Is on your list?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So at each table, behind the chair on the right-hand corner, there is a sticky smiley face or a heart. If that on one chair, if that is on your chair, please take it off and please take home the centerpiece on your table. It's in the back in the right-hand corner. Back right-hand corner. Of the chair. Rick's got it. Rick's got it. Take the sticker off so that Ernesto at Bear Hotel will be happy with us, please. I'm going to ask Greg Fishwick, our president of Four-Way Community Foundation, to select the winner of the basket donated by John Jones and Joan Starr. It's not like you don't have wine already. Fritz Amin. And Greg will make closing remarks.
Thank you, Sue. Congratulations, Fritz. It'll take the place of your fantasy baseball trophy that you had to give to somebody else. I hope you've all enjoyed this evening celebrating our community tonight. It's certainly been fantastic from my point of view, and I want to thank some of the people that you've already met and some that maybe you haven't. By the way, our next four-way event is this Friday, not this Friday, but Friday, December 1. Is that a Thursday? Thank you, Kate. Thursday, December 1, from 5 to 6 p.m. at the Hive. A quick session on tax advantage donations. So if you'd like to see that, do we have a flyer at the door on the way out? No? Okay. All right. Let's talk about some of the people that have made tonight possible. And if you'd please stand so we can honor you once again. We'll start with our speaker, Stanford professor and author of The Fight to Save the Town, Michelle Wilde Anderson. Now, I believe Michelle will be signing books on the way out. Is that true? Sure, she will now. Okay. Also tomorrow, Michelle is featured on a everyday civics series from our own Josephine Community Library. And you can get the Zoom link at info@josephinelibrary.org/calendar. That's tomorrow from noon to 1. Once again, our Louis F. Schultz Jr. Distinguished Service Award recipient, Brenda Patton. The artist who crafted the lovely bench for Brenda, Della Means. Speaking of artistry, the lovely gift basket for our raffle was created and provided by Joan Starr and John Jones of Trovato Winery. The flowers that one of you at each table won were provided by Greenleaf Industries. Our 5 major sponsors were Evergreen Federal Bank and their staff here at the Bear Hotel, Karen Drake, Ernesto Duran, Teresa Woodall, Melissa Vieira. Ferguson Wellman Capital Management was another sponsor. Sorensen, Ransom, and Ferguson Attorneys at Law are represented tonight by Deborah Sorensen. Our sponsor, Pacific Power, represented tonight by Alan and Lisa Meyer. And All Care Health, represented by Josh Ballack and Tristan Morrow. We also had 7 groups that helped us. The Grants Pass High School Chamber Orchestra, the Project Youth Plus Student Helpers, Pura Vida Catering, Tiny Bubbles Mobile Bar, Forest Vineyards Winery, Lori Mitchell of Mitchell Arts Photography. I hope you all got a photo coming in. And Ciro Bignati of Southern Oregon Audiovisual. Three of the board members you've already met were the celebration committee, Sue Orris, board secretary Don Welsh, and our outgoing board member, past president Steve Rowe. Steve mentioned that Judy Basker will be taking his seat on the board. She was unable to attend tonight. Judy recently retired as executive director of the Rogue Community College Foundation. The other 8 members who join me in serving on the 4-way board are Brenda Aguilera, Peter Engstad, John Higgins, Meadow Martell, Brandis Rojo, Deborah Sorensen again, Treasurer Teresa Stover, who you saw in the video, and Jan Taylor. Our one-of-a-kind executive director is Kate Dwyer. Our excellent administrative assistant, who rightfully won her flowers on her table, Shelby Kamen. And our event coordinator extraordinaire, Dina Engels. Now, before we leave tonight, I'd like to ask any of you who are here tonight who have previously served on the board of 4-Way or as a staff member to please stand. Thank you very much. These are the shoulders upon which those of us who serve now stand. Anyone who has ever attended a celebration of community with us, if you would also please stand tonight, including if this is your first time. Thank you. I just wanted to show that I could get a standing ovation. Please keep celebrating our community together with us. As Brenda would say, be your best self. And as Michelle would say, find the good and be the good.